126, the Filipino Rebellion. Emilio Aguinaldo rebels against the United States because the Philippines was not given independence as they had expected after the Spanish-American War. 127. William McKinley is assassinated by an anarchist trying to destroy all governments. And
What is anarchy?
belief in no government at all.
Why?
Well, he did kind of a crappy job.
McKinley?
No, guy who shot him.
Oh. It's like, McKinley wasn't that crappy.
Well, McKinley got shot. That's a pretty crappy job.
He's not bulletproof. Did they even have
Yeah, it's his
bulletproof
problem. He's not bulletproof.
Theodore Roosevelt is going to become president. He's actually the youngest president to be inaugurated.
Ever?
Still to this day. He was 42.
I thought you had to be like 50 something.
35.
Oh,
He's the youngest one to be elected. But by the time he took office, he was older than Teddy Roosevelt was when he took office. So Roosevelt was the youngest to be inaugurated. Kennedy's the youngest to be elected.
that's cool.
By like a matter of months. That's not much. Where am I? Last one. 128. The last one on this page. Theodore Roosevelt mediates the coal miners' strike. It's the first time the government's kind of intervened on the behalf of the workers. I think I can finish in 7 minutes. Yes, I can. Okay, since we're at the bottom of a page, we'll just stop here on the 250 things. But if you go to page 27, I can finish some of these sections. 27. Okay, we'll do the,
Expansion.
huh?
Expansion.
Okay, expansion. The Louisiana Purchase was bought from France. Florida is bought from Spain. That's with the Adams-Onis Treaty.
The what? The who?
Adams-Onis Treaty. It's actually down there under treaties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th one down. Oregon is ceded by the British.
So they spy off Britain.
British and Americans were both kind of settling there for a little while, and then they were trying to set a boundary, and eventually the British just kind of gave up. So I say ceded because they just kind of, would have. Okay, not quite that easy, but. Mexican cession is the territory won during the Mexican-American War. The Gadsden Purchase was bought from Mexico.
What states was that? Were those?
Which one?
Yes.
Gadsden Purchase is just like the last little piece.
In like Arizona,
It's just like a piece of like Arizona and like a small piece of New Mexico. Like it's not very much. It's just to finish connecting it to California. Like I don't have a map to show you.
So like on Nevada.
Like down at the bottom.
Oh.
Down at the bottom, like you can see in my head, there's a map, and that's where it is. We can run through the compromises. Oh, yeah, I can do that. The Great Compromise was when they were writing the Constitution, the Virginia Plan versus the New Jersey Plan. The Virginia Plan wanted Congress to be based on population. New Jersey wanted everyone to have all the same amount. Great Compromise, one of each.
New Jersey.
Jersey,
It's not listed here, but also at the writing of the Constitution, as we mentioned, was the 3/5 compromise. I think that one's in the 250. Missouri Compromise, this sets the line of 3630. It's the line of slavery to keep the balance. This is one of Henry Clay's. Missouri's a slave state, Maine's a free, keep the balance, keep the peace. Compromise of 1833 is the resolution to the nullification crisis. This was also Henry Clay, and it was just going to gradually reduce the tariff rates. (1850) we also talked about today, fugitive slave law, no slave trade in D.C., California becomes a state, organizes the territories of New Mexico, Utah, and will be decided by popular sovereignty. The Crittenden Compromise is a very unsuccessful last attempt to find another way other than war for the North and the South. It would have extended 3630 all the way to California, open slave trade in D.C. again, and modify the fugitive slave law, but it doesn't pass. Pretty much civil war is inevitable at that point. There's no more time for compromises. They're just going to have to fight it out. Compromise of 1877. This is where Hayes will win the presidency by promising to withdraw troops from the South, and it ends Reconstruction. He also says he will appoint Democrats to the cabinet. And the Atlanta Compromise, Booker T. Washington gives this kind of along the same lines as the Tuskegee stuff. He calls blacks to join the world of work, as he calls it. He tells whites to hire blacks instead of immigrants. He tells blacks there are more opportunities in the South. And once again, he endorses segregation. I don't understand. Any questions about compromise, expansion? So next week we'll pick up on page 13 and some of the other themes. We should be able to finish good amount next week too.